If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If your dog could talk, they'd beg for Ollie. The full-body tail wag, the excited little hops, the big, goofy grin, that's the Ollie effect. Ollie delivers clean, fresh nutrition in 5 drool-worthy flavors, even for the pickiest eaters. Made in U.S. kitchens with high-quality, human-grade ingredients, Ollie's food contains no fillers, no preservatives, just real food. Just fill out Ollie's 30-second quiz and they'll create a customized meal plan based on your pup's weight, activity level, and other health info. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to ollie.com/healthypup, tell them about your dog, and use code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/healthypup and enter code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your first box.
You know what's wild? Most people are still overpaying for car insurance just because it's a pain to switch. That's why there's Jerry. Jerry is the only app that compares rates from over 50 insurers in minutes and helps you switch fast with no spam calls or hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Before you renew your car insurance policy, do yourself a favor. Download the Jerry app or head to jerry.ai/acast.
Hey, it's Maya and Sim from the Girls That Invest podcast. If you are an IT or security pro, you know managing devices, identities, and applications can feel overwhelming and honestly risky. That's where Trellica by 1Password comes in. It helps conquer SaaS sprawl and shadow IT by discovering every app your team uses, managed or not. With pre-built app profiles, you can assess risk, manage access, and even optimize your software spend. Plus, it simplifies onboarding, offboarding, and compliance, all while cutting costs by eliminating unused licenses. Take the first step to better security for your team. Learn more at onepassword.com/special offer.
This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, September 8th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know. We follow up on context to do our best to help each other understand.
Today, YouTube streamed an NFL game for free. Did enough people watch it? Is it just precedent setting for streaming sports?
We're going to talk about it. I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Robb Dunewood.
Let's start with what you need to know with that big story. YouTube got 17.3 million people worldwide to watch an NFL game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers. That game was set internationally. It took place in Sao Paulo, Brazil on September 5th. It was a freely accessible, with ads if you don't pay for YouTube Premium, but freely accessible stream. You didn't have to subscribe to get it. 16.2 million of the 17.3 million. And by the way, if you're wondering how do they measure this, it's average minute audience, the average number of people at any minute that were watching this. 16.2 million came from the US, as you might expect for an NFL game. But 1.1 million were spread out among the other 230 countries that YouTube says accessed the stream. If you want to compare this, Amazon averaged 13.2 million viewers per game when it streamed its Thursday evening NFL games last season. Those are, you can compare that to the 16.2 million US. You can compare it to the 17.3 million if you want. YouTube used it to promote its NFL Sunday Ticket subscription, which is available worldwide, where you pay to get the rest of the games. It also promoted content from major YouTube creators. New content debuted during the game from Mr. Beast, Haley Khalil, Michelle Carr, and Marquez Brownlee. Along with the main play-by-play, they also offered alternative live streams. That was kind of cool. So you could listen either to the NFL folks that were doing a normal play-by-play, or you could choose to listen to a broadcast hosted by iShowSpeed and Tom Grossi in English, or Robe Grill and Escabeche in Spanish. And there was even one from the local Brazilian K's TV in Portuguese, in case, it was taking place in Brazil. Figured you might get a few more Portuguese-speaking people watching. I'll be honest, Rob, though, 16.2 million for a free stream. This is available worldwide on YouTube.com on opening week with the Super Bowl champion in previous years, Chiefs. Doesn't seem like as much of a lift as I might have expected over the average 13.2 million that an Amazon Prime game gets.
So I am on the complete opposite side of this. I'm surprised that it actually did more than Thursday Night Football would do, for this very reason. Friday is arguably the worst possible evening to put an NFL game on, which is why NFL games don't historically air on Friday nights. The NFL, if it could own the weekend, it would. Saturday is college. Sunday is their day. Thursday kind of became a thing over the last 10, 15 years. Monday Night Football is a big thing, but Friday night is not a night that people are going to sit down and watch football games more so than they would on a Sunday afternoon or evening or a Monday night. It's just not the way that we watch football. High school football, maybe even college football, but not NFL. So I was not surprised at all that it didn't do significantly better than what Thursday Night Football on Prime would do.
But still, it's free, right? Like, and by the way, at the top of our YouTube on our television, it was pushing it. It was like, hey, you want to watch this? It's on right now. You should watch it. Press here. Make it easy. Don't look at any of your recommended stuff. Watch this instead.
So if we were back in the before times when people actually watched CBS, ABC, ESPN, NBC to get their sports, this probably would have been a big deal. But we're beyond that. People just don't watch like that anymore. I mean, football is definitely the big sports thing to watch, at least here in the United States. But people who watch football already watch football. And I don't know that YouTube is like going to pick up net new football watchers. So the people that it would pick up already are into watching the games, and they don't watch games on Friday night. A lot of them are at games on Friday night. High school football is a Friday night thing across the country, and there are literally tens of millions of people who are sitting in stadiums every Friday night watching their local high school teams play. So it doesn't shock me at all that Friday just didn't work. I think it's more to do with the day than with the technology. The other thing too is that although they did advertise this a lot of people who are watching football aren't just watching YouTube like that to see stuff come up on YouTube. So they did a lot of advertising, but they did a lot of advertising to people that they weren't want to necessarily pick up because they've already got those folks. So if Friday Night Football becomes a thing, it will take years, just like Thursday Night Football took years to get to where it just now comes on every Thursday, as compared to it used to only be Thanksgiving and maybe a special week towards the end of the season.
Yeah. No, that all makes sense to me, especially the Friday thing. But what it tells me is that you have an audience for the NFL, and there's a limit to it, and there's probably an upper limit beyond this, right? Because Friday reduced the number of people, et cetera. But giving it away didn't help as much as, it didn't skyrocket it. The big thing keeping people from watching the NFL is not that you had to pay for Prime Video, right? It's not that you had to pay for NFL Sunday Ticket or cable or whatever else it is. It's the things you mentioned. It's, it was Friday night and I was watching some other game. I was going to my son's high school game. I was doing something else, and I'm not used to watching the NFL. And so I think everything you said is right, but it points out that the NFL has a market in which it can, get people to watch the NFL. But the idea that it should, like if they were to just make it freely available like this, it doesn't supercharge that number. It doesn't bring in new people.
Well, there's a reason that we're playing games in Sao Paulo and playing games in Scotland. And we need to pick up audiences that aren't here. Unless we can significantly grow the number of citizens in the United, or just people in the United States that watch football, NFL is pretty much tapped out. Everyone who watches football watches it. So there's not like there is some untapped market because they didn't have access to it before. Now that we've got access on YouTube, I want to go watch this. No, those folks are already watching.
Yeah. I think that's the key here. It's not, I guess we're both right. Like, you not being surprised by this number makes perfect sense the way you explained it, but me being surprised by this number is not, I'm not surprised that more NFL fans watched it. And I'm not even honestly that surprised, to be fair, but I am looking at this going, making it freely available and promoting the heck out of it didn't cause more people to immediately become interested in the NFL. Now, that said, to your point, that's why the NFL is doing these outreaches. That's why the NFL was like, yeah, YouTube, you can make this one available for free beyond the paywall, even though they might have had concerns about that otherwise, because we need to get the audience. And one game streamed free on YouTube is not going to make the difference. One game played in Brazil is not going to make the difference, but you have to keep doing those kinds of things.
Yeah, it took years of Thanksgiving Day games.
Yeah, oh yeah.
To normalize Thursday night football. It took, probably decades for that to happen. It would do the same. So if YouTube did this every Friday, then there's going to be a bump. But I would guarantee you that next Friday, it would be a significant drop off from this week because it was new the first time. You still have that problem of unless you are getting people from outside of the United States where the NFL has already got probably total saturation, you're just not going to see that much movement because there's only so many eyeballs that can actually watch a football game.
Do you, not do you, but how much of a difference do you think it would make if they did this on a Sunday?
If it would have been on Sunday, it would have been massive, in my opinion, just because people are conditioned to watch it. And it would have, if you would have been seeing, because it is an NFL thing, if you would have saw the NFL channel talking about it, ESPN talking about it, other things talking about there is an NFL game, because they do talk about the games other than the ones they cover on their own air, then you might have seen a significant bump because people here are already conditioned to do it. So folks who might have been out, the beginning of the season is not when you see the most games watched, is as you get towards the playoffs when and it's really cold out, when people start to really focus in on football. So it could have had a bump just because you would have had other promotional opportunity and it's a natural day to watch. But still, I don't think you're going to outdo what you would do on Fox or CBS because that's just how people watch.
Yeah, a good experiment, an interesting experiment. And I think we hit on the fact that it's an experiment meant to expose the game to people who otherwise might not watch it. But the other thing you learn from this is making it free isn't going to dramatically increase the audience. So don't expect there to be a lot more free games.
Right. DTNS is made possible by you, the listener, thanks to Kevin Morgan, Paul Thiessen, Ali Sanjabi.
Oh, and Alex resubscribed. Thank you, Alex.
Oh, thanks, Alex.
In business, they say you can have better, cheaper, or faster, but you only get to pick two. What if you could have all three? You can with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. OCI is the blazing fast hyperscaler for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs, where you can run any workload for less. Compared with other clouds, OCI costs up to 50% less for compute, 70% less for storage, and 80% less for networking. Try OCI for free at oracle.com/dailytech. Oracle.com/dailytech.
Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay, and you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. You can find anything there. It's unreal. Wipers, headlights, even cold air intakes. It's all there. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. Look, DIY fixes can be major. Doesn't matter if it's just maintenance or a major mod. You got it, especially when things are guaranteed to fit. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
You know what's wild? Most people are still overpaying for car insurance just because it's a pain to switch. That's why there's Jerry. Jerry is the only app that compares rates from over 50 insurers in minutes and helps you switch fast with no spam calls or hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Before you renew your car insurance policy, do yourself a favor. Download the Jerry app or head to jerry.ai/acast.
If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If your dog could talk, they'd beg for Ollie. The full body tail wag, the excited little hops, the big, goofy grin, that's the Ollie effect. Ollie delivers clean, fresh nutrition in 5 drool-worthy flavors, even for the pickiest eaters. Made in U.S. kitchens with high-quality, human-grade ingredients, Ollie's food contains no fillers, no preservatives, just real food. Just fill out Ollie's 30-second quiz and they'll create a customized meal plan based on your pup's weight, activity level, and other health info. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to ollie.com/healthypup, tell them about your dog, and use code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/healthypup and enter code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your first box.
There's more we need to know today. Let's get to the briefs.
Google made it clear what the usage limits are for the various tiers of its Gemini LLM services. Free users get 5 prompts a day on Gemini 2.5 Pro. AI Pro plan subscribers get 100 prompts, and AI Ultra plan subscribers get 500 prompts. Free users can also create up to 100 generated images, whereas paying users on both tiers can request up to 1,000 images per day. When it comes to deep research, free users get up to 5 reports per day, while Pro users get 20 and Ultra users get 200. Google also plans to offer a toggle switch in the Google search that will let you choose AI mode to be the default display instead of web search. That'll be an interesting one. I don't think that there are too many publishers, Tom, that will be happy about that toggle, but it will be interesting to see what people go with.
Yeah, the original post from one of the folks inside Google said, we're going to make AI mode default. And then another exec rushed in to be like, we're going to let you choose that, because they didn't want to take those phone calls anymore. But yeah, I guess the web search will remain the default for now, but then you can choose to change it. That'll be interesting to watch, to see how many people choose to change it. And good news for Google making it clear. I think they were playing around with the numbers and didn't want to publish them until they settled on them. What this tells me is they have now figured out what the amount of prompts they can afford to give the free users is.
Yeah, what's also interesting here is that if they would have made it default, people would have felt like, wait, you're making me pay for search now? Is there anybody else who can do search for free? Google does not want to have those kind of issues either. So your regular search is still free. You can still go search until your heart's content, and I have to pay anybody for it. At least that's the case right now.
The United States and Korean companies Samsung and SK Hynix continue to negotiate over authorization to use U.S. technology and parts in manufacturing plants located in China. U.S. Commerce Department no longer wants to issue an indefinite waiver. The last of those is expired. I guess it's indefinite, but it has an expiration date. But the deal expires at the end of this year. So it has proposed a site license. That site license would need to be updated yearly and would come with a lot of paperwork, because the companies would have to specify over the next year exactly what equipment, how many parts, what materials it would be using in that year, and it couldn't go over that. SK Hynix manufactures its DRAM and its NAND flash in China. Samsung makes DRAM, but it only makes its NAND flash in China.
So here's my question. When I hear site license, I always think of things that you pay for. Mm-hmm. Clearly, companies outside of the United States, in China in this case, they would be paying for the technology, but would they also be required to pay for the site license?
I don't think so. The license is more like the Commerce Department. The way they make these entities lists and these rules is you cannot export this stuff to this place unless we give you a permit. Basically, give you and the license is the term for that permit. So I would think of it more as a permit, which I don't know. There may be a filing fee associated with. I'm not going to discount that, but it's not like an ongoing fee. They'll get that with tariffs. That seems to be the way that they get that money.
Apple launch day is almost here, as the company will announce new products on Tuesday. And here are a couple of pieces of information to know going into those announcements. Apple has been using its C1 modem instead of Qualcomm's modem in its iPhone 16e, and it may introduce it in more iPhone models on Tuesday. According to a recent study from Ookla, Qualcomm's modem can aggregate signals from 4 frequencies, while Apple's C1 can do 3. Carriers like T-Mobile in the U.S., which can support 4 frequencies, will have better performance with the Qualcomm Qualcomm modem. However, the C1 worked better on poor connection than Qualcomm's modem. One other thing to note tomorrow, if Apple does announce the AirPods Pro 3 as expected, analyst Ming-Chi Kuo says his sources tell him that Apple may update the Pro models again next year to add an infrared camera for gesture control. And I would welcome this, not just on the AirPods, but on any earbuds that you put in your ear, because I personally have lost 2 earbuds by trying to do a gesture by touching the earbud and knocking it out of my ear in the most of inopportune time. So if I could just wave my hands next to my head, that would be something that would be kind of awesome.
Yes, and I have had so much trouble with voice control where it's like where it pops in and reads a notification to me right as I'm about to tell my dog to do something, and my dog's command is yes, and then suddenly the the Siri is like, "Great, you said yes," and I'm like, "No, I was talking to Seven the dog," and I can imagine similar hijinks happening with gesture control, where I'm waving to a neighbor and suddenly I've skipped my podcast.
I can see a sitcom, or not a sitcom, a Saturday Night Live skit from people with AirPods in, just doing all kind of crazy things, trying to get these things to work. So yeah.
Now, granted, I've got old AirPods Pro, and so I was very curious to see what they would announce with the 3, which sounds like they're going to do a heart rate monitor. That's the scuttlebutt. And I'm not sure that's enough to get me to upgrade. And then Ming-Chi Kuo telling me this goes, I could probably get another year out of these AirPods. I don't necessarily need more. That is interesting stuff to know about the modem too, though. Although I think that's only going to come to the iPhone Air, if everybody is correct.
Yeah, being T-Mobile or Verizon, I wouldn't want to get less capability than I already have, because those things scream. They're pretty darn fast. So I don't want anything less than what I'm already getting just because you changed your hardware.
In OpenAI news, ChatGPT's free users can now make use of the Workspaces feature, which is called Projects. So you can organize all your chats into one, and ChatGPT doesn't have to memorize stuff outside of that project. It's a nice way to organize it. There's also a new feature called Branch that will let you make a new chat split off from an existing one. So if you're brainstorming multiple things from an original prompt, you don't have to keep it all in that prompt. You can split it up into different ones. Also, a creative specialist at OpenAI named Chad Nelson is reportedly working with Vertigo Films and Native Foreign Studio to produce an animated movie, full-length feature film called Critters with a Z, about forest creatures that go on an adventure after strangers disrupt their village. Sounds like a perfectly Pixar-worthy kind of plot. It's all in the telling, right? The film, however, will be made mostly with OpenAI's generative models, with the idea to debut it at the Cannes Film Festival in May. Humans would voice the characters. They're not going to synthesize the voice. And humans will draw the original sketches. It's just the animation that will be done by the generative models. It'll cost $30 million to make, which is way cheap for an animated movie. It'll cost about 9 months instead of 3 years. And it's going to take 30 people. Anybody who's sat through credits knows that usually visual effects teams are made up of more than 30 people. And apparently all 30 people will share in the profits.
Tom, I remember asking you last week if you thought that we would see a movie created by AI. And I said naively by the end of the decade. Maybe I should have said by the end of the month, because this stuff is coming pretty quick and heavy. This is obviously
weird. From OpenAI, and it's a proof of concept, and we'll see how it goes over, right? And it's not entirely made with AI. It kind of depends on what you mean by the question, because it's going to have human voices, and the original sketches will be from human artists. But yeah, it's speeding along, right? And I'm very curious to see if they hit that May target and how it's received.
One other thing, I'm not surprised at all to see that OpenAI is adding more stuff on the free, because I learned there's a type of person out there that they just use whatever is free until the credits run out, and then they'll just move on to the next platform, to where they've got accounts on 6, 7, 8 things, and then just go to the next one. So this may get you to want to use their platform more if it's going to keep things persistent. So I think that's probably not a bad idea by them.
It's the AOL 20-hour free disc of the modern era,
which I still have some. I still have a tub full of them. Uber in China's Momenta will test an autonomous ride-hailing service in Munich, Germany, starting in 2026. It's another partnership that sees Uber provide the ride-hailing service side, while another company provides the cars. Momenta plans to launch service in its hometown of Shanghai next year and is partnering with Uber in the Middle East as well. It also sells its advanced driver assistance systems to Mercedes-Benz and Audi. And in other autonomous car news, Tesla has changed wording around its full self-driving feature to include the word supervise and adding fine print that says the feature cannot make the vehicle autonomous. Now, I don't know this to be a fact, Tom, but something tells me that that might be litigation defense from a from a Tesla standpoint.
Yeah, that seems quite likely. And it further diverges how the feature is marketed from how the feature is described in the legally submittable, like this is what people actually were told when they bought the car. Anthropic will create a $1.5 billion fund to compensate authors whose work was used in its training data from Library Genesis and Pirate Library Mirror. The court determined that Anthropic made fair use of author data in training and output, but that it broke the law by using pirated material. So this court case says it's fine to use material, but you have to obtain it legally. You have to either buy it or download it legally. You can't go get it from the Pirate Bay or, something equivalent. The case may be setting a precedent for other cases that are underway. And in fact, Apple is the latest to receive a lawsuit as two authors claim that it used a data set of pirated books in training its models. That seems to be the method that intellectual property holders are going to use to sue these companies.
I don't want to say that $1.5 billion is just a slap on the wrist. That is a significant amount that Anthropic is going to pay here. But they kind of got slapped on the wrist a little bit here because this could, in my opinion, could have been substantially worse than what it actually is.
It's about $3,000 per book. That's how they came up with that amount. And I looked into it to see if my books are in the database, and if you're not part of the Authors Guild, it's a lot more difficult.
The IFA conference ended in Berlin this weekend, but we have a couple more product announcements to note. Book showed The Verge a prototype color e-ink device with an LTE connection. No word on when or how much this is going to cost. Also, Amazon's Arrow announced the Arrow Signal device, which you can add an Arrow mesh network. Signal provides a cellular data connection for you if your main internet connection fails. A 4G LTE device costs $99 and a 5G device costs $199, and both require you to subscribe to an Arrow Plus subscription for $9.99 per month.
This is interesting. There's obviously going to be usage limits on this because it's only meant to be used when your main connection goes down. And you can already tie your phone service as a modem to your Eero. But that's a little wonkier because you have to make sure that sharing is on and you have to be in range and all of that. So this is a little more of a always available failover device. At $200 for the 5G and having to subscribe to Eero Plus. I guess if you're already a subscriber to Eero Plus, it's not too bad. It seems a little pricey to me though.
It's a little pricey, but I can see folks that would use it. Folks like us could potentially really use something like this where we need a persistent internet connection, particularly if we're in the middle of doing a live show or something like that, and just not having to worry about making sure that your phone is paired and everything is going to switch over. This could be a service that would help a lot of folks.
I have to say, it's not an unreasonable thing for them to charge. It's just that I'm not sure it's worth the money for me. Let me clarify that. Also, it better work. If this thing doesn't work the first time I need it, I'm going to be very upset.
Oh, I would be extremely annoyed and probably want to move furniture if it didn't work, because if you get something like this, I'm expecting it's going to be there whenever I need it. I shouldn't have to think about it, because if I have to think about it, I can just use my phone, which I think about right now.
Last week, the country of Nepal blocked 26 social media platforms, including Facebook and YouTube among them, for failing to register with the government and provide the name of a responsible person for the platform in Nepal. Now, since that block, 4 platforms, TikTok, Viber, WeTalk, Nimbuzz, and Papo Live, 5, have complied with the requirement and are no longer blocked. In response to the ongoing blocks, however, demonstrators describing themselves as Gen Z have protested, and the protests have gotten violent. At least 19 people have been killed and dozens more injured in clashes with security forces.
Those are some pretty serious protests. I can't imagine what losing your social media would be like, but it looks like we're kind of getting an idea of it in Nepal right now.
Yeah, and there's obviously like government corruption and other political things that, you know, sometimes you need an excuse to protest about other things. But yeah, it is significant, I think, that, you know, social media blocking for a fairly mundane reason, like you just need to register and the companies don't want to register. And that is interesting to note.
Research published by scientists from the University of California, Santa Cruz detailed a method for tracking the disruption of Wi-Fi signals in order to track heart rate. As objects move through radio signals, they slightly delay how they arrive at Wi-Fi antennas. This has been used to detect motion, but the scientists developed a machine learning algorithm to specifically detect the movement of a heartbeat. They tested their system, which they call Pulse-Fi, on 118 people, and within 5 seconds could measure heart rate with clinical accuracy using a $30 Raspberry Pi 4B board. And I certainly hope, Tom, that if they move this out and they can at least detect two other things, so they have a total of 3, that they name the device the tricorder, because that would just be awesome.
Yeah, a Raspberry Pi tricorder. This is crazy. They're obviously detecting more than just the movement of the heart in your chest. There's, you know, indications of your pulse in other places, like how your body moves and other things. But that's amazing that it
really is. And I'm making a joke about Star Trek, but when you think about it, they got so much right in that show that came out before you and I were born. It's amazing to me that they were showing you things that we're going to just scan you and we can tell what's wrong with you. And this seems to be leading into that type of future for us, to where you're going to have a device you can hold in front of someone and tell if they're having heart palpitations or if their kidneys are okay or something like that. I mean, this is truly sci-fi today. It's kind of awesome.
Captain, this planet has no Wi-Fi. Our tricorders can't work. And then real quickly, just to note, this weekend, Pope Leo XVI canonized coder Carlo Akustis as a saint in the Roman Catholic Church. St. Carlo created websites in multiple languages to spread Catholic teachings. He died in 2006 from leukemia, so I would assume he would become a patron saint of developers. What do you want to hear us talk about on the show? One way to let us know is our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at reddit.com/r/Daily Tech News Show.
AI is transforming customer service. It's real and it works. And with Finn, we've built the #1 AI agent for customer service. We're seeing lots of cases where it's solving up to 90% of real queries for real businesses. This includes the real-world complex stuff like issuing a refund or cancelling an order. And we also see it when Finn goes up against competitors. It's top of all the performance benchmarks, top of the G2 leaderboard, and if you're not happy, we'll refund you up to $1 million, which I think says it all. Check it out for yourself at fin.ai.
If your dog could talk, they'd beg for Ollie. The full-body tail wag, the excited little hops, the big, goofy grin, that's the Ollie effect. Ollie delivers clean, fresh nutrition in 5 drool-worthy flavors, even for the pickiest eaters. Made in U.S. kitchens with high-quality, human-grade ingredients, Ollie's food contains no fillers, no preservatives, just real food. Just fill out Ollie's 30-second quiz and they'll create a customized meal plan based on your pup's weight, activity level, and other health info. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to ollie.com/healthypup, tell them about your dog, and use code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/healthypup and enter code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your first box.
We end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom. Today, David has some additional info on accessible sports broadcast.
Yeah, he said on Thursday's episode, he heard us discussing the NBA working with a company called One Court to build haptic interfaces for blind fans. We were talking to Andy Beach about that. David writes, here in Australia, in June this year, the AFL, Australian Rules Football, introduced touch and track technology for blind fans at matches. It allows blind fans to track the position of the ball on the field down to centimeters of accuracy in near real time. Different vibrations are used for goals and behinds and other key game moments, and each team has a specific vibration which allows people to know which team is kicking in which direction on the field. It can also be paired with radio commentary to help enhance the experience. Just thought it would be cool to share how some sports are doing things to help blind fans enjoy their experience more. Love the show. David, aka Dave Bin M, Dave B in Melbourne.
This is pretty cool technology. It really is. If you to have a device where you can actually feel where the play is happening on the field, is pretty impressive.
It seems like that's becoming standard in sports now. Thank you, David, for sharing that.
Yeah. Well, folks, we want to know what you're thinking about. And if you've got any insights into a story, you can share them with us at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Big thanks to David for contributing to today's show. Thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. We stay in business with your support. If you get value from the show, think about giving us a little value back at patreon.com/DTNS.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If your dog could talk, they'd beg for Ollie. The full-body tail wag, the excited little hops, the big, goofy grin, that's the Ollie effect. Ollie delivers clean, fresh nutrition in 5 drool-worthy flavors, even for the pickiest eaters. Made in U.S. kitchens with high-quality, human-grade ingredients, Ollie's food contains no fillers, no preservatives, just real food. Just fill out Ollie's 30-second quiz and they'll create a customized meal plan based on your pup's weight, activity level, and other health info. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to ollie.com/healthypup, tell them about your dog, and use code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/healthypup and enter code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your first box.